Hello students, today we will begin from some SHC of some common substances. In the previous lecture we have studied about what is heat, what is temperature, then what is the specific heat capacity, what are the factors on which the heat absorbed or heat liberated by a body depends. And then we have reached at one formula Q equals to M into C into delta T, where C is what is specific heat capacity of the material. It is the constant for a material. In short, we write it as SHC, specific heat capacity of the material. Now see here, if we see what is the SHC of copper, SHC of water. If you see SHC of water CW, it is 4200 joule per kg per Kelvin, or you can say it is 4200 joule per kg per degree Celsius. You can write in this way also. Okay. So what is its meaning? Its meaning is if there is 1 kilogram of water, if there is 1 kg of water, then in order to raise its temperature by 1 degree Celsius, how much amount of heat energy will be required? 4200 joule heat energy will be required. If this bucket, if this container is containing 1 kg of water, and if you have to raise the temperature of that water by 1 degree Celsius, then you have to supply 4200 joule amount of heat energy. Or if you have to cool its temperature, if you have to decrease its temperature by 1 degree Celsius, if you have to cool it by 1 degree Celsius, then water has to liberate this much amount of heat energy. Similarly, if we see the SHC of the copper, SHC of copper is here, it is nearly 400 joule per kg per degree Celsius. Means in order to raise the temperature of 1 kg of copper by 1 degree Celsius, how much heat energy will be required? 400 joule heat energy will be required. Now suppose at one place you are having 1 kg water in this container, you are having, or you see here, this is a copper container, it is containing 1 kg of water. Container is made up of copper. It's clear. And here we have assumed that the mass of container is also 1 kg, as well as it is also containing what amount of water? It is containing 1 kg of water. It's clear. Here, this you can see, this is containing 1 kg of water. If you supply 42, both are 1 kg. Container mass is 1 kg. Water which is contained in it, that is also 1 kg. And if you supply 4200 joule amount of heat energy, what will happen? The temperature of water will rise only by 1 degree Celsius. But what will happen to here? The temperature of copper you will find, because for 1 degree Celsius it requires 400 joule amount of heat energy. It is nearly 10.5 times. So its temperature will increase how much times? How much? 10.5 degrees Celsius temperature will be increased. Means both will be heated unequally. Both will be heated unequally. There will be unequal rising temperature. Why? Because their SHC is different. Their SHC is different. Now which one will be more good conductor here? So naturally it is the copper, because it is heating quickly. It is heating quickly. It is clear. So from here you can see one more thing. The substances which have a smaller value of SHC, they can be heated quickly and they will be the better conductor of heat. You can see here, substances having low SHC will be heated rapidly. Heated or cooled rapidly. And heated or cooled rapidly, therefore they will be good conductor. of heat. Good conductor of heat. Now see here, similarly the substances which have the high value of SHC, high SHC, they will be heated less quickly, heated or cooled slowly, heated or cooled slowly. And when they will be heated or cooled slowly, what will happen? They will be bad conductor of heat. Bad conductor of heat. Not a good conductor. So see here, that's why if you take water, hot water, what will happen? It will cool in a very long time. It will not cool quickly. But if you take it 1 cup of tea, keep that cup of tea, hot cup of tea for 5 minutes, what will happen? It will be cooled very quickly. It will be cooled very quickly. But in the other cup you take the water, what will happen? It will be cooled in a very long time. It's clear? So it is because of the SHC. Now here in book one table has been given, so you can see that table. It is clear? Here the SHC is given in joule per kg per degree Celsius as well as in joule per gram per degree Celsius. What will be this in the gram? In kg it is 4200. So in gram you divide by 1004.2 joule per gram per degree Celsius. It's clear? So especially this value for copper and water we will remember. It's clear? For these two we will remember. Now see here, there is one vessel, calorimeter. What is calorimeter? As we have already told in the previous lecture, what is calorimetry? It is that branch of physics which deals with the measurement of heat energy. It is dealing with the measurement of the heat energy. Now you can see here, if you see here, then you will find that the calorimeter, it is a vessel in which the process of calorimetry is carried. It is the vessel in which the process of calorimetry is carried out, which helps in measuring the amount of heat energy. Now this vessel is made up of thin copper sheet. It is made up of thin copper sheet. Why do we make it for thin copper? And its reason is that the copper is having low value of SHC. It is made up of thin copper sheet. It is a cylindrical jar made up of thin copper. Means this copper sheet will not be very thick. It will be thin. It's clear? And why? Because so that its heat capacity is reduced. Heat capacity is what? It is the amount of heat energy required to reach the temperature by amount of heat required to reach the temperature by 1 degree Celsius, which is numerically equal to m into c, mass into SHC. So it is made up of copper because the copper is having low SHC. It is made up of thin copper so that the mass remains less. Mass remains less means heat capacity remains less. Therefore, it requires a very small amount of heat energy for 1 degree Celsius rise in temperature. It requires a very small amount of heat energy for 1 degree Celsius rise in temperature. Now this copper vessel is contained inside a wooden jacket. Here this is a wooden jacket. Inside the wooden jacket it is kept. It's clear. And the space between the copper, this is the copper cylinder and this is the wooden jacket. It's clear, means the wooden covering. You can say it is the wooden covering. And the space between these two is filled with some insulating material. And why it is filled with some insulating material? In order to prevent the loss of heat due to conduction. In order to prevent the loss of heat due to conduction. Now one more thing. This calorimeter, which is made up of copper, it is highly polished from inside as well as from outside. Why? In order to avoid the loss of heat due to radiation. In order to avoid the loss of heat due to radiation, means here what will happen? The radiant heat will get reflected. It will get reflected from the highly polished surface. Then it is covered by a wooden lid. Here there is a wooden lid, and this wooden lid is having two holes. Here one hole is this is the one hole, and this is the another hole. It's clear? Here it is covered with a wooden lid. From one hole thermometer is passed. From one hole thermometer is passed, while from the other hole, this is the thermometer. Here there will be some content, mixture, some mixture. This is some liquid, and there are some solids. It is clear. Now see here, in between this solid body and this liquid, there will be the exchange of heat energy. So it is the thermometer which records the temperature, and here there is a stirrer that is also made up of copper. There is a stirrer which is also made up of copper, and stirrer is used to gently agitate stir the contents. It is used gently to stir the liquids, to agitate the liquids. It will be gently stirred. It's clear? Not very vigorously. It will not be stirred vigorously. It will be gently stirred, so that no heat energy will be produced. Because if you do the stirring very vigorously, बड़ी तेजी से इसको हिलाएंगे, क्या हो जाएगा? Kinetic energy of molecules will be increased, and therefore temperature will be increased. So that's why, in order to establish the thermal equilibrium, we will gently stir it. It's clear? So this is the calorimeter. There is one more purpose of wooden lid. It is preventing the loss of heat due to the convection. It's clear? It is preventing the loss of heat due to convection. Now after this, there is one principle of calorimetry. What is principle of calorimetry? If you see here, principle of calorimetry, it is another form of law of conservation of energy. Principle of calorimetry, which we also call as law of conservation of energy. Law of conservation of energy. This is the another form of law of conservation of energy for thermal physics. It's clear? For heat energy. It is also known as principle of mixtures. Principle of mixtures. So these are the different names, but we use this name widely. It is used widely. What is principle of calorimetry? According to the principle of calorimetry, when two heated bodies are brought in contact, then heat energy will flow from a body which is at higher temperature to the body which is at lower temperature. And this flow of heat will continue until both bodies acquire the same temperature. If no heat is lost to the surroundings, then heat lost by heated body will be equal to the heat gained by cooled body. Now once again you understand the meaning of principle of calorimetry. When there are two heated bodies which are at different temperatures, when they will be kept in contact, heat will flow from where to where? From a body which is at higher temperature to the body which is at lower temperature, until both bodies acquire the same temperature. Means heat का flow तब तक होगा जब तक कि दोनों bodies का temperature same नहीं हो जाता. It's clear? Now if there is no loss of heat to the surroundings during the exchange of heat, from one body to another, if there is no loss of heat to the surroundings, then heat lost by heated body will be equal to the heat gained by cold body. This is the principle of mixtures. It's clear. So you will write the whole statement. Okay, already I stated twice, so you can write. So what is the last line? If no loss of heat has taken place in the surrounding, then heat lost by heated body equals to heat gained by cold body. This is the principle of Calorimetry. This principle is important. How will you find the heat loss or heat gain? So this I am explaining from one example. Suppose there are two bodies. One body is body A and another body is body B. One body is A and another is B. Here we have assumed its mass m1, its mass as m2. Let its temperature is T1 and its temperature is T2. And here we have assumed that T1 is greater than T2. So flow of heat will take place from where to where? From A to B. Flow of heat will take place from A to B until both requires the same temperature. So we have assumed that the common temperature at which both will reach after losing or gaining the heat. After losing the heat, it reaches from T1 to T and its temperature increases from T2 to T. So if you see the change in temperature for the first body, since it is losing the heat, so temperature will increase or decrease. So it will decrease. Losing the heat means the temperature will decrease. Initial was this, final has become this. So T is less than T1. So what will be this? T1 minus T. What is the change in temperature here? Gaining the heat, temperature is increasing, means T will be more than T2. So T minus T2. Which way? So what is the heat lost? Heat lost. So heat lost, so as we know that what is the formula? Q equals to M into C into delta T. Here we have assumed that its SHC is Ca and its SHC is Cb. Here its SHC we have taken as Ca and its SHC as taken as Cb. Heat loss. What is mass? Mass M1. What is SHC into Ca into change in temperature T1 minus T. Which came? Here heat gained if you see. So heat gained, it will be equals to mass is M2, then SHCC, it is Cb, then change in temperature T minus T2. Which means both will be from principle of calorimetry. From principle of calorimetry. Heat lost equals to heat gain M1 into Ca into T1 minus T will be equals to M2 into Cb into T minus T. This will be the expression. But we don't use this expression. We know the method of working of the applying principle of calorimetry. Clear? Now you can see here. Now we will see the high consequences of high SHC of water. Consequences of high SHC of water. So see here, the most important one is the why do we use, as we know that water is having a high value of SHC. It is 4200 joule per kg per degree Celsius. What is the SHC of water? 4200 joule per kg per degree Celsius. Now you can see here. This high value of SHC, it has some special consequences. It's clear. It is used for fermentation purpose. Fermentation purpose means सिकाई के लिए हम रबर की बॉटल्स में, प्लास्टिक की बॉटल्स में वाटर भर लेते हैं और उससे जहां पर जैसे पेट में कभी दर्द है सो रबर की बॉटल में वाटर भर के उससे सिकाई करते हैं, या जहां पर हमको सिकाई करने की जरूरत होती है उसकी हेल्प से हम सिकाई करते हैं. सो व्हाई डू वी फिल वाटर इन द रबर बॉटल? व्हाई डू वी नॉट फिल सम अदर लिक्विड? Its reason is because the water is having high SHC. Therefore, it stores a large amount of heat energy at a moderate temperature. It stores a large amount of heat energy at a moderate temperature because of high SHC of water. So, अगर ये क्वेश्चन आता है तो नंबर वन चीज ये हमको जरूर लिखनी है, because of high SHC of water. This phrase should remain present in your answer. Because of high SHC of water, water stores a large amount of heat energy at a moderate temperature. And number two, because of high SHC, there is the one more, it will cool slowly. It will not cool at once. Because already I have explained, if the SHC is higher, then the cooling rate or heating rate will be slow. Cooling rate or heating rate will be slow. If SHC is smaller, then the cooling will be faster as well as heating will also be faster. So what is the reason? Because of high SHC of water, water stores a large amount of heat energy at a moderate temperature. Moderate means which is not very high, not very low. It's clear? And it remains hotter for a longer period of time. So this is the first consequence. Then water is used as a effective coolant in the cold countries. In the cold countries we use water as the effective, not in the cold countries, in order to cool the heated parts of the machinery. In order to cool the heated parts of machinery, we use water as the coolant. It's clear? Now, as you know that in the cars, in the automobiles, we use a special type of coolant. But in the ordinary vehicles, for example, if you see the tractor, even now in the tractor also, we don't use water as the coolant. So, in the old age, water was used as the coolant in the vehicles, in the automobiles. जहां पर क्या है, इंजन है, इंजन के अंदर क्या है, इंजन जहां पर है वहीं पर हीट प्रोड्यूस होगी. सो इंजन की चेस्ट में एक सिलेंडर बना रहता था, उस सिलेंडर में क्या है, वाटर फिल कर दिया जाता था. इंजन की चेस्ट है, जैसे ये चेस्ट है, सो वन सिलेंडर हैज बीन फिक्स्ड इनसाइड द चेस्ट ऑफ द इंजन सिलेंडर. इट्स क्लियर? नाउ दैट सिलेंडर हैज बीन फिल्ड विद वाटर. सो व्हेन इंजन विल वर्क, व्हाट विल हैपन? हीट एनर्जी विल बी प्रोड्यूस्ड. That heat energy will be absorbed by water. So what will happen? Water will absorb the heat energy from the heated parts of engine and maintains the temperature of the engine. Maintains the temperature of engine. Engine will not become very much hot. It's clear, its temperature will not rise. At the same time, water, due to high SHC of water, high SHC, it absorbs large amount of heat energy but do not become very much hot. Means क्या है? You once again see here, suppose this is the engine, this whole thing is engine, this is the chest of the engine. In that this cylinder has been fixed, which has been filled by water. So when this engine will work, what will happen? Heat energy will be produced. That heat energy will be absorbed by water. When water will absorb the heat energy, what will happen? Its temperature will not rise very much. It's clear? And the temperature of water will also not rise very much because it can absorb a very large amount of heat energy, but the temperature will not rise very much. Suppose you have filled 10 kg of water, so when it will absorb 1 kg requires 40 to 100. So 10 kg, 40 to 100 joule heat energy. When this water will absorb 42,000 joule heat energy, then temperature will rise by 1 degree Celsius. That's why we use water as the coolant. Then in cold countries, we use water as the water as the reservoir for wine and juice bottles. It's clear. As you know that in the cold country, temperature is very low. So if you leave the water and juice bottles or wine bottles as it is, what will happen? The juice or wine will freeze. On freezing it will expand, and on expanding this will crack. It's clear. So in order to avoid that, what will you do? We will put the wine bottles, we will put the juice bottle inside the water container. And as we know that water cools very slowly, therefore this will not reach to the surroundings temperature. Wine bottles or juice bottles will not reach up to the surroundings temperature because water is cooling very slowly. It's clear. And therefore they will be avoided from the freezing. So these are the consequences of high SHC of water. Then similarly here farmers fill their field with the water so that you can read. So in everywhere you have to write the because of high SHC of water. It's clear. Now after this we will do some numericals here. So you can see here numericals we will do from this book. So you can see today we will do the simple numericals. Then in the next video we will do some other numericals also. Here as you know that what is the formula? Q equals to M into C into delta T. M is mass, C is SHC and delta T is the rise in temperature. Question number 2. Here A, calculate the SHC. In C you have to find. Of a copper vessel of mass is given 150 gram. If the SHC is given, C equals to 410 joule per kg per Kelvin. Now all of you see here. You can see here, you will find that here mass is in gram and here it is in kg. HK mass is given in gram and this is in kg, so you will convert it in kg. It will be 150 upon 1000 kg. So that will be 0.15 kg. Unit should be same. HK. So here in the question it is given, calculate the heat capacity of the copper vessel of this if the SHC is this and mass is this. So what is the formula of heat capacity? So as you know that there are two formulae. One formula of the heat capacity is heat capacity Q upon delta T and another is M into C. Here which one you will apply? So M into this is the amount of heat required to reach the temperature by 1 Kelvin, by 1 degree Celsius. So it will be 0.15 into 410. So when you will simplify, this is equals to 61.5 joule per Kelvin. Joule per Kelvin. It's clear? Now see here second part of this is the heat capacity. Then in the second part, this you can also write joule per degree Celsius because the change in temperature of 1 Kelvin is equal to 1 degree Celsius. It's clear? Now see here, how much heat energy will be required to increase the temperature of vessel by from 25 degrees Celsius to 35. So delta T is what? 35 minus 25, that is equals to 10 degrees Celsius, equals to 10 Kelvin. Now you can see here for 1 Kelvin this much heat is required. So for 10 Kelvin this into 10. So heat required equals to this, you know, M into C into delta T. M into C already you know, 61.5 into 10, that is equals to 615 joule. 615 joule. Is clear? Now you see the third question. So questions are very simple here. Question number 3. A piece of iron of mass 2 kg, M equals to 2 kg, has a heat capacity C equals to 966 joule per Kelvin. Find the heat energy needed to warm it by 15 degrees Celsius. Warm it by 15 degrees Celsius means you have to increase the temperature by 15 degrees Celsius. So what will be in Kelvin? It will be equal to 15 Kelvin because here temperature has been taken in Kelvin. So what is the heat needed? Once again same thing, heat needed equals to M into C into delta T. Everything is given. M is given 2, C is given 966, delta T is 15. It's clear? So it will be equals to 14490 joule. Then you have to find SHC. You have to find SHC. It's clear? Here it is given. There is some error in this question. You can see here there is some error. Here it is given heat capacity is given, not the SHC is given. Here this is given heat capacity. Heat capacity. Heat capacity means M into C. It is M into C. It's clear? So you can see here. You see here. M into C is 9 into 6. 966 into 50. So when you will calculate, it will come out 14490. Then you have to find in second part SHC. So see here, M into C equals to this much. This is equals to M into C. So what will be M? It will be equals to heat capacity upon mass. Upon mass. So you write down what is heat capacity here. It is 966 divided by 2. So 483 joule per kg per Kelvin. Joule per kg per Kelvin. This. Then you can see here question number 6. We will do the question number 6. Now see here. Find the time taken. Question number 6. Find the time taken by a 500 watt heater. 500 watt means it can supply 500 joule energy in 1 second. It's clear? You have to find how much time will be required. It's clear? To raise the temperature of 50 kg of material, M is given 50 kg. Of material of SHC, C is given 960 joule per kg per Kelvin. Mass is taken same material. From 18 degrees Celsius to 38 degrees Celsius. So 38 minus 18, rising temperature is from 18 से 38 हो जाता. So 38 minus 18, that is equals to 20 degrees Celsius. 20 degrees Celsius in Kelvin, it will be 20 Kelvin because it is the change of temperature. So how much time will be required? So see here, first you calculate how much heat energy is needed. So heat energy required. Heat energy required. How much heat energy will be required? So it will be equals to M into C into delta T. You calculate, M is given 50, C is given 960 60, delta T is 20. So when you will calculate this, it will be 960, 50 into 20, it is 1000. So 960, 000 joule. This much amount of heat energy will be required. You have to find that in what time it will be heated. In what time it will be heated. So see here, heater is supplying how much heat energy in 1 second? 500 joule. And how much heat energy is required? So time taken in heating, it will be equal to energy required divided by power. Energy required, energy here we are representing by Q. Which means energy required Q divided by power. What is Q? Q is, you have calculated 96, then 4 times 0 upon power is 500. So this is cancelled. This second, now you convert in minute. So 1920 upon 60. So this is cancelled. So when you will divide 192, 6 3 ja 18, 1, it will go complete time. So it is 32 minutes. You can leave the answer at 1920 second also. That is also correct. I have calculated up to 32 minutes because it is given in your book. It's clear. Then you can see one more question. That question is the last question of this lecture. So you try to solve numericals and do each and every question of exercise also. A 0.5 kg lemon squares, question number 8, 0.5 kg. Lemon squares at 30 degrees Celsius, its initial temperature is 30 degrees Celsius, is placed in a refrigerator which can remove the heat at an average rate of this. Refrigerator is removing the heat at this rate. Means 30 joule per second means in 1 second it is removing how much heat energy? 30 joule heat energy from the lemon squares. 1 सेकंड में लेमन स्क्वायर से 30 जूल एनर्जी एक्सट्रैक्ट कर लेता है और उसको बाहर थ्रो कर देता है. इसलिए हाउ लॉन्ग विल इट टेक टू कूल द लेमन स्क्वायर्स टू 5 डिग्री सेल्सियस? यू हैव टू कूल इट फ्रॉम दिस टू दिस. SHC of lemon squares is given 4200 joule per kg per Kelvin. So first you require to find out heat extracted equals to M into C into delta T. What is M here? 0.5. C 4200. Delta T is how much? 30 minus 5. So this will be equals to, when you will multiply this into 25, this joule. So you further multiply this joule. Now heat is extracted at what rate? At 30 joule per second. So time taken in cooling, equals to Q upon P. P the rate of heat extraction. So Q is 52500 upon 30. So when you will do this, cancel. So 3 1 ja, this is 3 1 ja 3. 2, 3 7 ja 21, 3 5 ja 15. This second. Now you divide by 60. So when you will divide by 60, 0 0 cancel. 6 1 7 5. 6 2 ja 12. 6 9 ja 54. So 29 whole 1 upon 6. 29 whole 1 upon 6 minute. It's clear? So this you can write 29 minute and 1 upon 6 minute will be what? 1 upon 6 into 60 second. So this will be 29 minute 10 second. This is clear. So now I will do one more lecture over this on the numericals. After that we will proceed to the B part of this chapter. It's clear. So thank you.